Hello everyone and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. We're getting straight into it today with the World Touring Car 700, the remaining 3 races, and we did the first 4 in the previous episode. 3 to go. The first one left is at the Red Bull Ring. Once again, 10 laps on the board that we need to complete, so let's get started. We've already made 1 overtake, and we'll see if we can make that 2 in 2 corners, well 3 corners technically, but no one cares about turn 2 at the Red Bull Ring. Let's see if we can get this done around the outside, move ourselves up into 18th position, and that's a couple of overtakes already in this race. We'll see if we can maybe make it 17th by the end of the straight. We'll turn the engine mode down a little bit just to try and conserve some fuel, because at a circle like this with a couple of long straights, fuel burn will be quite an issue. Bit of a mistake there though from us, and we're unable to take P17, so we'll just need to recompose ourselves and try it once again as we round the middle sector. And now we'll see if we can get a nice run towards the final couple of corners as we get to the inside, and we'll get the job done in the straight line there. Move ourselves up into 17th with a few corners left of the first lap. We may be able to gain a couple more spots. A bit wide there on the exit with an awkward line through turn 9, trying to get things a bit more nicely through the final corner. Tag the back of the Ferrari, but nonetheless we'll make a couple more overtakes. Move ourselves up into 15th position by the end of lap 1. We continue to push on, get another move done in a straight line there, nice and easy, up into P14, and a few more cars in front of us, so we should be able to gain more places on this lap. We're still driving the little Suzuki Swift, by the way, that we've been using throughout all of these World Touring Car 700 races. This car is just amazing. So yeah, it's really only the fuel economy that lets it down past the Mustang, and we will make the move around the outside, and that's job done. Up and into P12 now, so making very good progress throughout the first few laps. Now we've got another cluster of cars move around the outside. Watch out for that exit curb, because just like in the Formula 1 game, it is quite aggressive. Thankfully we don't get floor damage in Gran Turismo. Not that it would really affect the Suzuki Swift that much, but it is something to be aware of. That curb is rather aggressive, so we do need to be aware of it as we try and make the move around the outside and up into 8th position now. So making very quick progress at this point, but anyway, we catch up to another pair of cars, or trio. Well, it's almost a constant line of cars really, and for quite a few places. Down the inside though, up into P7, and we've got another little Swifty friend in front of us. We've got a nice exit here. We'll make the move around the outside up into P6, down the inside of the Alfa Romeo, and we'll get the move done well before the corner. And we may get another one here, sticking the nose in last moment there, and that's another move up and into P4 now. So flying through the field as we cut that last corner a bit, but onto the main straight now, and we'll get down the or alongside and ahead of the one more car up into the podium places now. So we continue to push on up into 2nd position as we head through turn 2. Getting a bit caught up on the curb there, so we ought to watch out for that. But with 1 car left in front of us, we just need to keep pushing on and try and close that air gap. As we continue on though, our pit stop comes up. My goodness. Okay. That scared me, and I knew that was coming. Far out. Yeah, we head into the pit lane, which now everyone in pit lane is well aware of. And yeah, on lap 5 of 10, it's time to get a new set of tyres on the car. Fill her up with fuel, and we'll push on to the end, and hopefully we'll come out on top. There was actually quite an air gap to the race leader, as it's also been raining a little bit as well. You may have just seen the spray coming off the wheels there as we went into the box, so we do need to be aware of that too. The track conditions are a little bit slippery, not enough to call for the intermediate tyres, I don't think, but it is something we do need to be careful of. So out of pit lane then, and we get racing once again. So let's see what comes of this second half of the race. We've dropped ourselves quite a ways down the field, so we'll need to wait for everyone else to make their stops to see where we really re-emerge. And a car off the road there, and cars scattered all over the place, really. We had made a bit of contact with Sugawara, who was off the road there. And wait, isn't that the guy that races in Dakar in the Hino truck? I think his name was Sugawara. But anyway, we continue to push on. Some relation of his has taken to Group 4 racing in Gran Turismo apparently, and has made a mess of Turn 9 here in Austria. Didn't see the start of that, unfortunately, and I didn't think to get a replay of it, so we'll never know exactly how he ended up in that position. But whether it was through contact or a spin, he was facing the wrong way that part of the circuit. Meanwhile, we're up into 3rd position now, as we've got 2nd place right in front of us. We're sitting in the slipstream. We'll see if we can make the move potentially to the outside. We'll go late on the brakes and we'll get the move done. And my goodness, he came out of nowhere, charging back down the inside and getting the move done. That's something I would do. But anyway, we're back in the slipstream and we'll get the move done once again on Yamanaka. But he was very aggressive there into the braking zone. But we were able to get back through on the straight anyway. So with all of that, we found ourselves in the race lead eventually, with pit stops being made, and that is where we stay for the remainder of the race. And we cross the line to take victory here at the Red Bull Ring. Headlights on at the end, and yeah, that is another race ticked off the list for us in the World Touring Car 700. Another 115,000 credits for that one. I don't know why it's slightly more than the previous ones, but regardless, we move on to Dragon Trail. This is the same version of the circuit that I know oh so well from the circuit experience. I would rather not think about that, but anyway, it's the reverse direction, so it's yeah, going to be interesting. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to drive this track in reverse. When you drive a track in reverse, you kind of realize how much it's meant to be driven in the other direction, as we go a bit wide there. But you know, you see all like the entry points in the you know, off the side of the road in the fences, and yeah, they look quite scary from this direction. We almost ended up in one there as we completely lost control. Maybe a bit of contact with another car. I'm not exactly sure how that bit of messy driving started there as we head down the inside of the Ferrari. Bit of contact made there as we tried to make that move quite late. Big lunge down the inside. My goodness, we're being very aggressive now, but that's job done once again up into P15, now P14 along the straight. So we've passed almost a third of the field so far. Now with a few more overtakes towards the end of the first lap, we'll move ourselves up into P12 by the end of lap 1. So good progress at the start of this one, and we'll see if we can make a little bit more as we go for the lunge down the inside. A couple of overtakes done there, up into the top 10. We'll see if we can make it 9th as we go around the outside, and we'll get ahead of the Dodge Viper there, the Chilean driver, in that one. And now another maybe overtake down the inside of the Hurricane. Not quite going to be able to get there. Now to the inside, we'll get the move done, and we can't. We're still stuck behind the Hurricane, so being a little bit overcautious here, I think. Well, I don't know where the aggression's gone, but now we'll get through as they had a bit of a moment. Now I've got our little Suzuki Swift friend here. We'll see if we can make the move around the outside, getting the power down, and we will out-drag them on the straight. Move ourselves up another position. We're up into P7 now, so making good progress. We'll get another 2 positions as we round the Alfa Romeo and another car there as we head into the double right-hander of turns 1 and 2. I guess that's 2 corners. Not sure if there's official corner names on the original Gran Turismo circuit. It's a bit of contact there as we're trying to make more overtakes, and that's another move up into 4th position now. Bit of a cheeky one with that contact, but regardless, we're ahead and now up into P4 with another couple of cars right in front of us, so we could find ourselves in 2nd position within the next few seconds here, having to go a little bit off circuit there to the left. 2 wheels on the grass to make that one work, but again we make the move down the inside into turn 1, and we'll have to fight this one a little bit. We go a bit deep ourselves, run them wide, and now we're really struggling to get down to the second apex. We end up slightly off circuit, but regardless we get the move done and up into P2 now. So we'll have to chase down the race leader. We do that, catch up to them by the end of lap 5, but I realized right at the last moment that we need to make a pit stop on this lap for some new tyres and more fuel, and we will carry these to the end of the race. So definitely turning the engine mode down to go the extra few laps is paying off in these races. Otherwise we would be looking at 2-stop races, I think. I'm not actually sure what's faster overall, because of course we could be deploying a lot more power in order to you know, to get greater speed out of the car, and potentially, you know, make up for that second stop doing it that way. And of course we'll have fresher tyres throughout the race as well, because, you know, we will be, you know, on no older than 3 or 4 lap old tyres at any point in the race, whereas with this strategy we have to drag the tyres out 5 laps. So you know, there are, I guess, pluses and minuses, especially with the tyre wear being so strong for these events, and especially on this car. It's yeah, I'm actually not sure what works out faster. I'd be curious to time it. But regardless, as I've been saying all that, we've been making our way through the field once again. We're up and into the top 5, so we've got ourselves back into contention, and once everyone else makes their stops, I think we should be able to come out in the lead. But for now we've found ourselves now into 4th position as more pit stops are being made, and we've got P3 right in front of us, so we'll see if we can make an overtake probably along this next straight, cutting that inside margin very fine there. But regardless, we'll make another overtake along the straight here as we head under these couple of bridges. I wonder if that's like from like the other variation of the circuit. I'm curious where, because there are 2 versions of Dragon Trail, but they don't really seem to be related in any way, as we take 2nd position, by the way, and as the race leader pits, we will take 1st. So I'm curious where the other version of Dragon Trail is, if that was actually, if it crosses over the top of this one. That would be quite funny. It's a bit like Twin Ring Motegi, how you know, the road course version is just, you know, on the ground where most racetracks tend to be, and then the oval is elevated above it. But anyway, as I've been talking absolute nonsense throughout most of that race, we've taken race victory, and that is 1st place for us at the Dragon Trail event World Touring Car 700 thing. Yeah, 3-star roulette ticket for our marathon thing. Cool. So let's see what we get from this one then. We look at that on the top right. We have an option to get 1 million credits. Unfortunately, we go one too far. Of course, it's just complete luck. It'd be good if we could actually, you know, sort of stop it when we wanted to. And I mean, of course, you can't really do that, because that would just be kind of defeat the purpose of having something randomized. But it'd be good if you could, you know, sort of have your own input in some way, so it felt like you were doing something. But anyway, regardless of all that, we've gotten the 3rd race underway as the planes fly overhead, and I'm sure if we looked at the sky there would be the French flag, but we're too busy focusing on the race at the moment. The final race, as you can probably tell, is at Le Mans. Kind of an odd choice, I guess, to have this kind of race at Le Mans with Group 4 cars, but effectively GC4 cars. They're a lot slower than what would typically race around this circuit. You know, that would be more similar to Group 1 and Group 2 cars in Gran Turismo terms. If you know, they're faster than GC3s, which are Group 3. But anyway, we will do the races that have been given to us, and do the best we can in each one. We're up into 16th position now as we head along the straight. Good straight line speed going to help us here. We've got the wipers on. They're probably not going to do us too much good at this point of the race. We'll see if it could rain later. You never know. But at the moment it is very much dry. Blue sky for the most part, with a few clouds. So we'll keep an eye on that. But at the moment, no rain seems to be imminent. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting race. It's half an hour long as well, if I haven't mentioned that. So longer than the previous ones by a margin, and it's being time limited as opposed to lap limited means depending on how fast we go and how fast the other cars go, and potentially dependent on the weather, the race could be a different number of laps. So fuel could be interesting in terms of management and when we pit, how many laps there are to go, and so on. It could be could end up in an interesting situation at the end. We'll see. But anyway, we've got a cluster of cars in front of us now, so we'll see if we can make our way through this lot as we head along the third and final part of the Mulsanne Straight. We'll see if we can maybe make a big diving move to the inside here. We've got some straight line speed on our side. We are closing up to this group of cars. I'd rather just deal with them all at once and get past the whole lot of them down the inside, but one of them turns across to try and make an overtake of their own and makes a bit of contact with us. We got away with it, thankfully, but that was a bit of a scary moment there. But regardless, we're up another 3 or 4 positions from all that into 11th place. So good progress on the first lap. We're almost halfway through the field with a whole chunk of the first lap to go, really. So being a long circuit, you'd expect that we can make a lot of progress. So as we continue on, we've got the Ford Mustang in front of us now. We'll see if we can make an overtake on them, potentially into this left-hander. Is this... I'm so bad at remembering corner names. Is that Indianapolis? I think it is. And then, oh no, it's just this right-hander. It's all coming back, I think. I think that's right. But anyway, we'll see if we can get a nice exit here. That's probably one of the most difficult corners on the circuit, in all honesty. I've had so many issues with that right-hander. It's always the simplest corners that cause the most problems, you know? Like, it couldn't be more basic. It's a 90-degree right-hander. The road doesn't change widths or do anything crazy, but it's somehow the most difficult corner on the circuit. It's the same at Bathurst. You know, across the top of the mountain, the S's, Skyline, the Chase, that's all fine. But the first corner and the last corner, Hell Corner and Murray's Corner, incredibly difficult to get right. And they're just 90-degree corners. But who knows? And that's just not just me. That's something you can see in real life too. But what's simple on paper may not always be the case. But anyway, we continue to push on, working our way through the last couple of chicanes, the Ford chicanes I believe these ones are, and on to the main straight once again. So by the end of lap 1 we're into 8th position, and it's a nice place to be at this point of the race. I think we've got a whole little bunch of cars in front of us, so we'll see if we can make another couple of overtakes on these two. Let's try and get a nice run through 3 cars actually. I can't count. And the car in front of us has had a moment. The car in front of them has also had a moment. We can get 2 freebies here, and nice run on the car ahead of them as well. So all 3 of the cars that were fighting away in front of us having a bit of a hard time through the opening few corners of the lap, and now we stand to gain potentially 3 places out of it. We've already gotten 2. This third one is proving a little more difficult, as we now get a great exit and we draw alongside the Aston Martin, as we're going to race wheel to wheel along the Mulsanne Straight, and we'll get past them nice and easy, move ourselves up 1 more position and into the top 5 now. So this is where we sort of need to be, I guess. Again, fuel is going to be a big question mark around this circuit. I mentioned it earlier, and you can see we're running the lowest engine power we can, as the Aston Martin's actually coming back at us. We'll go for the big dive around the outside, but the Aston Martin even later on the brakes, we'll sit side by side all the way through the chicane, and they're going to come out in front. But once we get the power down in the low speed range, we just have a bit better push than the Aston. But it was a nice little battle there through the chicane, kept it clean, and we came out in front in the end. But I think the Aston just has better top end, which makes sense. This car is a bit of a brick compared to the Aston Martin, which is a lot more streamlined. But anyway, I wouldn't expect this thing to have great top end speed. It'd be quite draggy. But anyway, we are continuing to chip away and gain a bit of ground on the next car, so let's see if we can potentially make an overtake on them. It's our old mate from the first race, Yamanaka, so let's hope we don't have a replica of what happened there. We'll see if we can make the move. We're going to the outside again, so we clearly didn't learn from that first experience, but we should be able to get the move done long before the corner, and we do, as we now head into the braking zone. A bit of a moment there, and we're way too late on the brakes over the curb, and we just get it stopped before the oh my goodness, we get absolutely doored by Yamanaka there. And we'll have to get moving once again. So along the straight we will re-overtake the Japanese driver, and that moves ourselves up and into 4th position now. So yeah, we managed to get through eventually, but once again a feisty little battle there as one of the top 3 make a pit stop, and that moves us up into the podium places. So yeah, we are steadily still making our way through the field, and I think by the time we make our pit stop on the next lap, actually everyone's stopping on this lap because there is actually rain falling now, and we need to switch to the intermediate tyres. So everyone coming in now to put the correct tyres on, and we'll run these, of course, for the rest of the race. So we'll probably fill this thing up with fuel because there is a fair way to go in this one. We're not even halfway yet. We have a bit of fuel left, so I'm trying to do the mental math. It's going to be borderline whether we can make it to the end. Of course, it depends how many laps there are. That, again, is something we don't know. The rain will slow us down a little bit, which will help. But yeah, it really does depend on how many laps there are in this race. So into the box we come then. We'll get the intermediate tyres on and fill it up with fuel, and we'll see how much progress we can make throughout the rest of this race. We're still, I guess, effectively in 3rd position. We were, of course, trying our best to save fuel throughout that first stint, so I don't know if that's going to help us in terms of our overall track position, but you can hear the rain falling now. We've also gotten ourselves a penalty for track limits. It's literally a ½ a second penalty, and I don't know if we've even gotten to a point in this series where I've gotten a penalty before, but the way penalties work in Gran Turismo 7, you don't serve them in the pit lane or at the end of the race. You actually serve them as you're driving around the circuit. Most circuits have a specific point where you are forced to slow down and just serve the penalty by driving slower for a bit. So for a ½ second penalty, it's literally just a tap of the brakes, but if you've got something more like a 3 or 5 second penalty, of course that's going to be a lot more costly. But anyway, we're making our way through the field slowly, as we did lose a bunch of places in the pit lane. I assume a few of the cars in front of us either put the intermediate tyres on a lap earlier or are currently out on circuit on the slicks, which is not something I would recommend as we go for the big lunge down the inside of the Alfa Romeo there, and we get the move done, and up now into P5. So good progress once again. We actually seem pretty fast in the rain, I have to say. Usually it's not really my thing, but this car actually feels really nice in these conditions, which is a strange thing to say. But anyway, we'll make another move now down the inside as we head towards the 2nd chicane, and we'll get ahead before we even reach the braking zone. Cluster of cars in front of us though, and they're all fighting away, and there's a spinner there. It's the Corvette, the Kiwi driver McEwen there, going for a spin and facing the wrong direction now at the 2nd chicane. So just losing the rear end in the split conditions. Potentially he was the one holding up the others on the wrong tyres, I would wager, given the way he spun there so easily. So it's unfortunate, and that's why I wanted to come in and put the intermediate tyres on, because that is the kind of grip we would have otherwise. So we continue on though, bit of contact with the Lamborghini Huracan there, and we lose that position briefly, and they get on the brakes way too early for this right-hander. That or I was way too late. Either way, there was a very large difference in the speed we believed we could carry there. It ended in a bit of contact, but we did get through and move ourselves ahead up into 2nd position. In the race lead right now is the Chilean driver in the Dodge Viper, so we'll see if we can catch up to them, and you'll see now what the penalty does. Yeah, that was the penalty. So yeah, half-second penalty is basically nothing for us, of course. I guess that does affect our straight line speed all the way along to the next corner, the Porsche curves, but regardless, we're still able to make the move for the lead there, and that's us now up into first position. So we can just move on to the end of the race now. Fuel was a little bit tight, but we were able to get away with it, and we will just about make it to the end. Actually, fuel was very tight. Definitely couldn't have done any more laps, but we crossed the line to take a race victory for the third and final event in the World Touring Car 700. This little Suzuki has served us well, and I'm sure we'll use it again in the future for whatever other events it's applicable for, but I absolutely love this car. It is incredible. A lot of cars, because of the time limit, didn't actually make it onto the final. Actually, only one other car started the final lap, and then the timer hit 0 and third place down. Were unable to start that lap, so that's kind of funny actually. But anyway, I don't think I mentioned yet, the prize money for this race is massive. 500, or it's over 500,000, but combined with the clean race bonus we got, it's over 800,000 credits. We got $3 million in the bank now. That is insane. Almost 3.3 million. And after all that, I think our car deserves a drink. My goodness. Yeah, the oil was a bit worn out in this one, so yeah, give it a drink, give it a wash. Car can have a nice little bath, and yeah, that is the maintenance out of the way. So what next? Well, I need a Group 1 car soon, because one of the next menu books we need to do is for Group 1 cars. And I want to get this one, the Toyota GR010 hypercar. Yeah, I know it's technically not the fastest Le Mans car. I think the older Toyotas, the non-hypercar, the LMP1, I guess regulation ones are faster. But anyway, yeah, I just want to go with the new one, the 2021 model. So yeah, that's the one I went with. And there's the number 7 or the number 8. The number 7 was a race-winning car, driven by, I wrote it down here, Mike Conway, Kamui Kobayashi, and Jose Maria Lopez. But number 8 is a little closer to my number, so I actually went with that one as opposed to the 7, just for the number, literally. And that was driven by Sebastian Buemi, Brendan Hartley, and Kazuki Nakajima, who I think has actually retired from racing now since then. But anyway, so yeah, that is our next big purchase. We need a Group 1 car, as I mentioned, for the next menu book. So yeah, that will be something we do in the near future. Group 1 cars, well, I guess I haven't really driven them too much, only in a couple of the license tests. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But there we have it, our new Toyota GR010 hybrid. But we have one other little thing we need to do before the end of this one. We have to complete another one of these extra menus, so let's do that. But it's not the Honda NSX menu book that we just unlocked. In fact, this clip was recorded at the start of the video, but I just put it at the end because I don't know if everyone would find these bits interesting. But the menu book we're going to look into is this one, the Nissan Silvia menu book. The reward is a 6-star roulette ticket, which is massive for collecting a couple of Silvias, which are cool cars, but I don't know, it seems like a very big reward. But regardless, we've completed the collection, and we have earned our prize. So there we have it, a 6-star roulette ticket. Awesome stuff. So without further ado, the Nissan Silvia menu book is complete, so let's see what we can learn about these cars. The Silvia is the most elegant and sporty coupe in Nissan's storied roster. The 3 you have assembled here were each exceedingly popular in the 80s and 90s. The stability provided by their rear-wheel drive layout and the affordability for which they were initially known are 2 reasons for their popularity. Really, it is a splendid collection that brings together the best of the Silvia series. Let me start by telling you a bit about the original model, the first generation Silvia from 1965. A genuine coupe, it was built on the engine and chassis of the Nissan Fairlady 1600. Its beautiful design is consistent with that of European sports cars from the 60s and 70s. By the way, do you know where the name Silvia comes from? It's actually taken from a beautiful and romantic goddess of Roman mythology. The S13 Silvia is 5 generations removed from the original model. Sold between 1988 and 1993, it notably served as the base car for the 180SX, a coupe known for its retractable headlamps. Along with the Toyota Celica and the Honda Prelude, the S13 became famous as an affordable two-door coupe. Affordability aside, its rear-wheel drive layout, powerful engine and innovative suspension contributed to its superior handling, giving it a lead role in Japan's mountain racing scene. Japan is home to many enthusiasts of tuning and customization. So this SIL 80, which makes use of parts from the Silvia and 180SX, is considered to be very cool. Outside of Japan, Silvia cars have been marketed under names like the 200SX and the 240SX. Slight variations on the Japanese Silvia in terms of design and engine specifications. The 200SX and the 240SX share with their counterparts all the qualities of an elegant and sporty FR coupe. The successors of the popular S13, this 6th gen S14 debuted in 1993. Despite its slightly larger body, it retains the sharp lines and elegance of its namesake. One mustn't forget that it also features an updated SR20 DET, first introduced in the later S13 models. Later iterations of the S14 featured an even sportier design language. And this trend continued with the 7th generation S15. Slightly more compact than its predecessor, it offers smooth handling that draws on the car's basic attributes. Design-wise, it is instantly recognizable as a sports coupe. Improvements to the suspension, engine, and body rigidity all contribute to a fine driving experience. Since production of the S15 ended in 2002, Nissan has yet to unveil a successor model. Nevertheless, each Silvia is worthy of belonging to Japan's most elegant and cool line of sports coupes. Alrighty, goodness me, that was a long story. That was like almost 5 minutes. That doesn't sound very long when I say it like that, but in terms of having to read all that out, that took a while. But anyway, we spin the 6-star roulette ticket, we get titanium connecting rods and for an Enzo Ferrari, which is pretty cool. I don't know if I have one of those, but I will definitely get one at some point. They're probably my favorite Ferrari, full stop. So yeah, that's cool. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, long story, but fair enough. Silvias are very cool and very historic and important cars in terms of Nissan and probably Japanese cars as a whole. They're one of the most well known. But anyway, so yeah, that is going to bring this one to a close. We've finally finished the World Touring Car 700, ticked off another menu book as well, so it's all good. So yeah, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it, especially if you sat through that whole story. You are awesome. So yeah, other than that, I will see you next time, where we do some more stuff in this game, more car races. Yay. Okay. See you next time. Goodbye.